So I've got a question following the last video about the nature of this broad bandwidth trance that I'm talking about. I'm going to read the question to you, and it runs thus. Jerry asked me by email, I would love to see a video session example to see exactly what you're talking about with this broadband trance, because in my mind that is what hypnosis does. So in this video I'm not going to give a demonstration, I'm going to show two clips of me shaping up firstly a narrow bandwidth trance and then a broad bandwidth trance. I'm not going to show the whole thing, I'm just going to show some little bits so you can compare and contrast the flavour. But there's something that I want to say before I get into this. What I was talking about there in that trances of stasis and change, I wasn't talking about hypnosis or hypnotic facilitation necessarily. I wasn't talking about just that. I was talking about life. Okay, how we are as human beings in the world, because we do not live in the world as it is. Our experience of the world is not the world as it is. Our experience is mind-made. Okay, it is made up. We get data coming in through our senses that gets shaped into our experience of the moment. Now, we shape it through the sense we've made of certain situations and certain contexts, and as such, in each given context of our life, we tend to drop into a trance that we feel, or, unconsciously, that we have made to be appropriate to that context. Sometimes we like what those trances deliver us, sometimes we do not. Most of those trances are narrow bandwidth trances. Okay, that's what I was talking about in the last video. We also do broad bandwidth trances, but we don't do them as much. If you want to know more about this, check out Dr. Les Fehmi's book, The Open Focus Brain. You will see from that he has this hypothesis that in our natural hunter-gatherer state, we spend most of our time in what he calls open focus, and a small amount of our time in what he calls narrow objective focus. But that in the modern world, we spend most of our time in narrow objective focus and not a lot in open focus. And he points out there are costs, psychological and health costs to this. Okay, so this is very relevant if you are somebody that works therapeutically with hypnosis or does change work with hypnosis. Now, I also want to say that if you've read my book, Hypnosis Without Trance, which you might go, well, Hypnosis Without Trance, why are we talking about trance? The only point of that is there isn't a special state of trance that takes us away from our normal reality shaping faculties. That hypnosis itself works with our everyday reality shaping mechanisms. So this narrow versus broad, this is a natural part of how we do life. When we work hypnotically, we are working with that. We are not trying to override it. So what you're going to see is you're going to see me here eliciting a narrow bandwidth trance and then a broad bandwidth trance. And I'm going to do a little bit of commentary where appropriate to point out the difference. Okay. And if you're curious to know more about the trances of stasis and change workshop, which is not a hypnotherapy workshop, I want to make that absolutely clear. It's going to have those elements in it, but that's not what it's about. I'll let you know a little bit about that on the other side. Okay, let's dive into this analysis. Okay, so pick a point right on that hand. Pick a point that you can focus on fully and intently. Because you focus on that point, you can feel the table under your hand on the table. And as you focus and as you feel, just allow that hand to begin to sink in your mind into the table. So it just sinks into the table, all the way into the point where it just sinks and sticks in. What's more stuck as it sticks in? Your fingers or your palm?
Fingers right there.
So your fingers right there are more stuck and sticking more. Try and unstick those fingers from the table, find your palm sticks even more. You try that, really. So what's more stuck now?
The heel of my palm.
Right, the heel of your palm. Right, really try and unstick that from the table. Really try and unstick. Really try. Really try. Okay, take hold of your wrist with the other hand. Really try and unstick it. Really try. Really try and unstick it. That's a curious thing. Okay, so you can relax that. But look, it just unsticks. Like this. And just pick a point up on the wall that you can focus on that. And as you're focusing, and noticing, that's right. This moment, now, and breathing and connecting and hearing. That's right. That's it, as you continue in this moment, experiencing. That's right. And releasing. That's it. So you can take all the time you need in the next few moments to just enjoy this moment. And only as long as you choose to do so now. Because you can hear sounds and feel feelings and enjoying this experience lightly. That's right, you can, that's it. So in the first clip there, you can see a very tight facilitation where I'm actually using quite a lot of intensity in my tone. I'm prescribing very specific ideas for the person to wrap their head around. I'm bringing my focus in on the hand, shared point of focus, but it's the tightness with which I am bringing that person into that focus, okay, and the very, very specific ideas that I am inviting them into, and the very, very tight facilitation, okay. This is a mono-ideistic trance. It's a very limited set of ideas. I want this person to wrap their mind around a very specific reality, very narrow reality that I'm looking for them to create. Now in the second one, you can see me being much more expansive. My tone is different. Now I invite him to pick a point of focus. Normally I would have invited him into peripheral vision, but what I was demoing there was how you could do hypnosis with a few simple words. Very, very minimalist. So I didn't do that, but normally I would do that. But notice the relaxation in my body, the expansion in my own field. Okay, the tonality, how it slows down. Notice how later on I invite him to notice the sounds he can hear, the feelings he can feel. So I'm inviting his perceptual field out. This is a much more expansive, broad bandwidth state. Now in a natural state, like a narrow naturalistic trance might be something like somebody who's in, you know, a panic state or something like that. They're wrapped around a single idea. Oh my goodness, that terrible thing's going to happen. But somebody who was sat down around a campfire or something like that, gazing into the flames, opening themselves out, falling out of their thinking and into their well-being. This is a much more broad bandwidth state. So I hope you can see those two distinctions there. So if that tickled your interest, if you're still here watching this, definitely give this a like, definitely give it a thumbs up, definitely subscribe to the channel. If you're interested in the Trances of Stasis and Change workshop, we're going to be playing around with narrow bandwidth trances, broad bandwidth trances, but this is personal, okay? Because what I really want for people to get from this workshop is an understanding of how their mind is making up the moment and how their minds make up the moment of their lives. So if they come to the conclusion, do you know what, my mind isn't making up these moments of my life in ways that are useful to me, well, we become better equipped to intervene, to bring our higher level mind in and reorganize our reality, so to speak. That's a big thing in the one-on-one work that I do. It's all about reorganizing reality so that people have a richer representation of the world, one that serves them more in creating better experiences and more choices in how they engage with the world. So that's really what this workshop is about, not a hypnosis workshop, but of course, because hypnosis and this stuff is intimately connected, we can't pull those things apart. Okay, so if you want to get on that, there'll be a link around here. This is still in the launch week, so you can get a huge discount if you think, yeah, this is the thing I want to do and you want to book now.